Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
Good morning and welcome back in for another week of football and another start to your Saturday right here on the Southern Tier Kickoff Show. There is an absolute amazing slate of action on the board this Saturday. We got 3 games that see ranked teams take on one another. We got the Red River rivalry. That's a tough one to say. Florida taking on Tennessee, plus number 2 versus number 4 in the country. And of course, Penn State and Syracuse both in action. But before we get to that, let's, of course, as always, meet the rest of the team this morning. Kevin Quinn, Kyle Spisak sitting to the left of me, Michael Villegas here on the right, and of course we are going to have Keith Savage, who is out and about at Hartwick as they get ready for SUNY Brockport, my alma mater, this weekend. But we start our Saturday in Southern California. CBS is number 3 in the country. Penn State travels to La La Land for a Big Ten battle with USC. This weekend showdown will mark the 11th meeting between the two teams and the first since USC's 52-49 win over Penn State in the Rose Bowl, that in 2017. Kyle, what can we expect this afternoon?
Yeah, and the CBS third-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions will make their trip 2,570 miles across the nation to take on the USC Trojans in their third conference matchup this year. Last week, Penn State took care of business against the other Big Ten school from Los Angeles, beating the UCLA Bruins 27-11 in State College. This week, though, the Trojans are more of a test for the Nittany Lions, despite the Trojans falling to Minnesota up north last week. Penn State was missing star running back Nick Singleton last week, but still took care of business on the ground, with Kaytron Allen and Drew Aller punching in 2 touchdowns on the run. Aller also went 17 for 24 through the air with 237 and a touchdown. But with Singleton expected to be back in the lineup this week, Penn State will have one of their main weapons available again. With Penn State having to score by committee this year, head coach James Franklin talked about the Nittany Lions' versatile offense earlier this week.
I think it's helpful that when you watch our tape or when you study us, all those guys have made plays at times, and that's concerning, that it's not just one guy, that if you stop this guy, you're going to stop their offense. And obviously our running backs and our tight ends, have been doing it now for a while. Our wide receivers, I really feel like are developing and have really had a nice year so far.
And the keys to the game for Penn State today will be finding receivers in the seam and picking apart the zone from USC. Next, Penn State has to win the battles at the line, with USC having one of the weakest lines in the Big Ten. This should buy time for Aller and the backfield. Lastly, although Singleton is expected to be back, trust the power back you have in Kaytron Allen, and don't rush Singleton into the game and risk another injury.
Yeah, Kyle, absolutely. I mean, you talk about the 1-2 punch for Penn State coming back. That's going up against a USC defense that has not really been able to stop the run in any way. Yeah, they've been, to put it bluntly, there. So.
Wow. Don't mince your words there. No, I mean, they have. They've struggled against Michigan. Now they come in against Aller and a great running game in Penn State. So I think it'll be a little bit difficult. I had some trouble. We'll get to this later, but in the picks, because it'll be a little bit difficult to see how that USC team is going to perform against a really, really strong Penn State offense and actually a good defense as well.
Well, let's not wait too long. Kevin, let's start right with yourself. Who do you like this today?
Yeah, I really do like Penn State in this one. Just keep it simple. Football games are won in the trenches. The line play from Penn State is just outclassing USC by a long time. They had a tough welcome to the Big Ten last week versus Minnesota, and this is an even better Penn State team.
And you have to take a look down at the defense of USC. This season, only 6 sacks for 27 yards. Last week, Penn State had 2 for 30 yards alone. I mean, this is an awful defense that USC has. If you can get a decent run game going and get Aller to get some weapons open in the middle, especially Liam Clifford playing that slot position, you get the ball in his hands. He's going to shred apart that defense.
Michael, who do you like?
I'm taking Penn State. Like I agree with Kevin. It's just a strong team, the hot hand at this point. USC has shown they have struggled this season, but Penn State is riding hot hand, so I'm going with them.
So much like the desk here, the United States as well agrees with you, and I'll tell you this, 78% of the bets on Penn State. 84% of the money on Penn State. Well, guess what that means, guys? Uh-oh. Yeah. Vegas didn't get built by teams winning. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take USC on this one. I think it's going to be a close game. I think these are two teams that have been a bit overrated pretty much all season. I mean, CBS, and again, there is back and forth on where they are, but right now has Penn State as third in the country. I think that, look, they're going to win. I do think they're going to win, but it's going to be close. And ultimately, I think that USC will cover at home, if not pull it out on backdoor. So I'm going to go ahead with them. But let's move from the West Coast back over to the East Coast, as it's going to be a game of emotions in Raleigh between the Syracuse Orange and NC State. Cuse is coming off an emotional win over UNLV last Friday, a game that required a fourth quarter comeback and a walk-off overtime win. The Wolfpack, though, are wearing the weight of an entire state on their shoulders as North Carolina is rebuilding in the wake of Helene. Kevin, what do you think is going to happen today?
Yeah, well, the Syracuse Orange are getting into the thick of their schedule as today's game versus NC State kicks off 5 straight ACC matchups. It's the first conference game on the road for the Orange. We're on the heels of that overtime thriller in which they came in on top versus UNLV. The offense looked great last week. Running back Quinn had 4 total touchdowns. Tight end Rondé Gadsden, 142 receiving yards. Quarterback Kyle McCord threw for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns. For NC State, backup C.J. Bailey will be under center after starter Grayson McCall left last week's game with a concussion. Head coach Fran Brown says the key to the offensive success so far has been getting all his players involved.
You know, you got a lot of players on the football team, and everyone wants the ball. You play offense to get the ball, and just them being able to understand that your day will come. Everyone has a different day. You know, sometimes last few weeks it was just Trevor. Before now, this week coming back, it was OG again. You know what I mean? So it's just different guys.
And some keys to the game for the Orange. First off, the running game in the red zone. The Orange need to mix up their offense. It was shown last week with Quinn rushing for those 2 scores. And adding another dimension will help them in this one. There were 2 blocked punts by UNLV last week. The Orange need to make sure they're staying disciplined on special teams and not allow those mistakes. And the defense hasn't been exactly locked down for the Orange, and to step up to the line and make tackles to keep the NC State offense quiet.
All right, you mentioned it, Kevin. They're not playing terrifically on 2/3 of the field. You know, the offense has looked spectacular, absolutely, but defense, special teams, not quite there yet. That all being said, they could have an argument right now to be a ranked team. They've already beaten 2 ranked teams, 1 on the road. So I feel like Syracuse at this point in time is not getting that respect that they deserve, and it's a good thing because Fran Brown is going to use that. He's motivating his team with that. He's internalizing that. I know you've gotten a chance a couple of times to talk to him about all of that.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Fran Brown has, their discipline, it's dark, right? That's their motto for this season. Discipline, accountable, as I throw things around here on the desk. Discipline, accountable, relentless, and toughness. And that's what they're going to be. They haven't seen it from the special team side yet, which he has mentioned time and time again, that's what they want to get. On the defensive side of the ball, Fadil Diggs, they're moving him around. He's a pass rusher. They've moved him back on the linebacker in a 2-point stance now after Marlo Wax went down, who should be coming back in a little bit. But they are moving pieces around to try to make it work for that defense as well. But like you said, offense is pumping on all cylinders, but you can't rely on 1/3 of that team.
How they fix it?
Yeah, what I think they have to do is in this game, not necessarily fix it, but just lean on the offense. When you're playing a freshman quarterback under center, you just need to outscore them, outmuscle them. This is the kind of game where Kyle McCord can take the Big Ten big game experience that he has and really just come out against a conference foe. Don't take the foot off the gas and just make sure everything is rolling on the offensive side of the ball and just hope everything else comes along.
All right, real quick, who you like?
I like Syracuse.
If Syracuse can wrap up tackles, go with Syracuse.
How they do that?
They got to actually finish their tackles. They're going through, they're just kind of flying by guys. They actually have to wrap them up and bring them down with their weight, not just kind of fly right by them every time, make solid contact on them.
Absolutely. And who you like?
I'm taking Syracuse. I have to.
I think we got a clean sweep here. We got Syracuse as well. And as well, let's find out what the weather's going to be like in NC State, again, in the wake of Helene. But meteorologist Connor Thompson here with your kickoff forecast.
Well, Syracuse on the road down in North Carolina to face North Carolina State. What is the weather going to be as we hit kickoff around 8 o'clock Saturday evening? Well, yeah, your football forecast here showing no real weather concerns. Very similar weather to what we're experiencing up here in New York. Clear skies, maybe not as mild. Temperatures will be in the low 60s around kickoff by fourth quarter, only falling down into the mid-50s. We're not experiencing any significant winds either, so it should be a high-scoring affair between North Carolina State and Syracuse. No weather concerns at all throughout the region. Hopefully you can enjoy the game.
D.C. lawyer Josh Riley His firm helped Chinese manufacturers, threatening American jobs. Josh Riley was a shady lawyer. Now he's an even worse politician. Riley pushed the Supreme Court to let liberals in Washington ignore federal immigration law. Riley pushed to stop deportation and give them American jobs for up to 5 million illegals, overwhelming our cities. Elite D.C. lawyer Josh Riley is the worst of Washington. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Understanding your financial situation has become more important than ever. Every Wednesday, Around the Tiers invites a representative of Visions Wealth Management to discuss a weekly financial tip on topics ranging from homeowners insurance to investing to Social Security taxation and more. Wednesdays at 3 p.m. during Around the Tiers on WBNG. You can also catch up on segments you missed at WBNG.com.
If you haven't called Senior Life Insurance Company for your free quote, you're probably paying too much. Senior Life was able to get this 65-year-old woman a $10,000 immediate benefit whole life plan for under $41 a month. She saved over $450 a year by choosing Senior Life. Some competitors cost twice as much. This 65-year-old man was paying almost $110 a month before he called Senior Life. We were able to cut his rate to $52, saving him almost $700 a year. These low rates are locked in, and so is the coverage amount. Hundreds of thousands of seniors have taken advantage of our low-cost plans built with seniors' budgets in mind. We saved this couple almost $1,400 a year with more coverage compared to what they were paying. Call now to find out if Senior Life Insurance Company can cut your rate in half. The quote is absolutely free. Switch to Senior Life and stop paying too much. Call now.
Mark Molinaro, 30-year career politician, took hundreds of thousands from corporate special interests like the prescription drug industry and sold you out. Mark Molinaro opposed the law capping the cost of prescription drugs and opposed holding big drug companies accountable for their price gouging. Mark Molinaro gets his money, you pay more. Mark Molinaro, another career politician taking corporate money and selling you out. HMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
I'm Martha Stewart, and this is one of my new kittens. Of course, I want to give them the happiest, healthiest life possible, which is why I choose Pretty Litter. We love this litter because it's tough on odor and helps keep tabs on their health by changing color to show high, low, and typical pH levels. Pretty Litter is also low dust. And whether you're a new cat parent or a lifelong cat lover like me, this low-maintenance litter is the game changer. Try it today. Go to prettylitter.com.
The 12 Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
All right, welcome back in, and thank you for staying with us this Saturday. We are about 20 minutes away from kickoff right now for some of the games around the Southern Tier. But just about an hour after that, at 1 p.m., an hour from here at our Johnson City studios, the Hartwick Hawks are hosting SUNY Brockport and the Golden Eagles, my alum. So, not that I'm saying I'm ruined. Not that I'm saying I'm ruined. But 12 Sports' Keith Savage is live there right now from Wright Stadium, where things seem to be coming alive. Keith, how's it going an hour north of us?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm here at Wright Stadium as the Hartwick Hawks are hosting the SUNY Brockport Golden Eagles. Bit of a chilly day, so I got my flannel on, but fall weather officially here. Overall, though, the Hawks, they've been struggling to start the year so far, just 1-3 with that lone win coming from the season opener. Main reason why is this defense has not been clicking, giving up over 35 points in all three of those losses. They just need to play team ball. Quarterback James Sawbull has averaging over 225 passing yards a game. When his previous loss, he had to get pulled early just because things were not clicking. But his main guy has been Connor Cosgrove, averaging over 100 yards to go along with a few touchdowns. SUNY Brockport, they're not a team to mess around with. They are 3-1 in the season, winning his previous matchup 35-0. This team is red hot and looking to continue that against the Hawks. Overall, it's just the defense has also been struggling for the Hawks team. But if they can play a complete team ball game, this could be a victory for the Hawks on this home field. But that's all I have here as kickoffs at 1 p.m. Now back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Keith. And not the only game going on in the tier. What else we got today, Kevin?
Yeah, well, Cortland ranked second in Division III football, heading to Utica to take on the Pioneers for an Empire 8 showdown. Red Dragons on a 16-game winning streak. Last time they lost a conference matchup all the way back in 2019. We're talking pre-pandemic there. Since they've had 21 consecutive wins in conference. As for Utica, they're 3-1 this season, 1-0 in the conference, and are 22-5 since 2022. Cortland is coming off a 41-0 shutout win over Morrisville, while Utica is coming over a 65-7 win over Hartwick. Under center, Zach Boyes for Cortland and Brett Fuller. Boyes is 61 for 83 for 882 yards and 9 touchdowns with no interceptions. Fuller, 63 for 109 with 731 yards with 10 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. And we cannot forget to mention Jaden Alfano St. John and Ethan Gaio for Cortland. So good matchup between these two. Cortland has won the last 4 matchups, winning 56-3 last year.
And over in the Liberty League, Ithaca on the road versus the Rochester Yellow Jackets. The Bombers took down Rochester 24-10 in their last matchup, and Ithaca hasn't lost to Rochester yet as they're 6-0 all-time against the Bombers. The Bombers are coming off a 16-7 loss to Hobart and are sitting at 1-3 on the season. Rochester is coming into this one on a hot streak. They're 5-0 this season, coming off a 14-7 win over RPI and a 3-game home stretch. So first game on the road in a little bit. The Bombers running back Jalen Leonard Osborne has 341 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns this season. Ryan Rose has thrown for 566 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions for Rochester. On the other side, Colin Shum started the QB season at QB for the Bombers, and they've been rotating guys in as of late. Matthew Parker taking most of the snaps under center last game, and we'll see if Ithaca can remain unbeaten versus Rochester in this Liberty League matchup.
And last night we had some Ivy League action with Harvard taking a trip to Cornell to take on the Big Red. Cornell coming off a tough loss to UAlbany, 31-10, but looking to bounce back at home before hitting the road for a 3-game road stretch. And we start with second and goal. Jamison Wong to Ryder Kurtz. Gets it in the end zone for a 4-yard TD pass to get on the board. Second quarter now, after a Harvard field goal and touchdown. Jamison Wong on a first and goal. He'll take it himself for 10 yards and put Cornell up 14-10. But Harvard would answer. Jaden Craig finds Seamus Gilmartin down the sideline. Yeah, he'll take that 54 yards. See you later, green grass. Harvard would extend their score, 3 more touchdowns. Following those in the third, Wong throws a quick slant to Samuel Masungu, but a little too late. Harvard takes down Cornell 38-20.
And don't forget our game of the day. Stay tuned. CBS's Game of the Day right here on WBNG. College football kicking off at 3:30 as Penn State, we mentioned here, traveling across the country, taking on the USC Trojans. Penn State enters the game. The CBS rankings at 3rd in the country. They're looking to improve on their season and remain unbeaten, going 6-0. That West Coast matchup kicks off on the East Coast Standard Time at 3:30 right here on WBNG. We will be right back with the picks for your Saturday slate. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Linda Sarah.
And I'm Father Clarence from Mercy House of the Southern Tier.
Since 2016, Mercy House has provided a comfortable home-like environment for more than 1,200 terminally ill residents. Thanks to our community's ongoing support, we now have the opportunity to increase our capacity with a planned expansion of adding 6 more rooms.
We invite you to join our community donor campaign to help grow our mission to provide compassionate end-of-life care.
Please visit mercyhousesouthernttier.com.
Hi, Grandma. I played baseball today.
Oh, that's great.
What position did you play?
First base.
That's what Grandpa used to play. When our hearing wouldn't allow us to use a regular phone, it made us feel isolated.
It became difficult to communicate with our friends and family.
Clear Captions was an easy solution for us.
Clear Captions provides captions on a phone like captioning on your TV, so you can see what the caller is saying live as they say it.
Making it easy to understand and respond immediately.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear Captions service is provided at no cost to you through a federally funded program. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone, all at no cost to you.
Give your loved ones the independence and connection they deserve.
Call now to see if you qualify to get a Clear Captions phone at no cost to you.
Call 1-800-765-8826. That's 1-800-765-8826.
I take caring for my kitty very seriously. So when I found a health monitoring kitty litter, I had to meet the creator.
Oh, hi, kitten.
Please, I told you to call me Martha. This litter seriously stops odors, and it changes colors.
Smart and pretty, you could say.
You're going to make me blush. I love that it's lightweight, low dust, and delivers right to my doorstep.
Try it today. Go to prettylitter.com.
Mark Molinaro is at it again. This time, lying about Josh Riley. The truth? Josh watched his dad get laid off when IBM closed and shipped jobs overseas. It devastated his community. So Josh fought back. He became a lawyer, the kind that takes on greedy corporations and fights for everyday people. And that's what he'll do in Congress. Stand up to the drug companies and utility monopolies to lower costs. Because Josh will always fight for us.
I'm Josh Riley, and I approve this message.
Hello, everyone. Philip Myers here, coming to you from the beautiful Forum Theater in downtown Binghamton, New York. I am super excited to share with you a concert that's coming up October 19th for Suck Out Cancer, such an important cause to raise funds for local families who are in need. Opening the show this year, Binghamton's own Alyssa Crosby. Then my band kicks in, backing up one of the greatest singers I've ever worked with. Mr. Kevin Chalfant is bringing to you his Journey experience. I cannot wait to see you. October 19th, get your tickets now.
The 12 Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you are a Pennsylvania resident, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY if you are a resident of New York. Please gamble responsibly. All right, let's take a look at the standings. Connor Thompson now atop the rankings after a 7-0 start last week. He went perfect. And that's going to be 25-15, not 25-25, but he is atop. Kevin, Quinn, myself, Kyle Spisak, everyone at the desk here at the bottom. So let's get into this week's picks. We start in the SEC, South Carolina and Bama. Look, when it comes down to it, for me, there are certain characteristics that you need to win ball games. And right now, South Carolina, when you compare them to Alabama, are winning on rush attacks, winning on large line yards, winning in havoc on the defense, winning on finishing drives, and that's a big one. And they're also winning on special teams. I'm going to take South Carolina and the points.
Yeah, I know Alabama had the big loss to Vanderbilt last week, but maybe this is a get-right game for the Crimson Tide. They'll come out motivated. They'll come out fired up. They'll take this one. Let's go Alabama.
And South Carolina's offense has struggled a couple of times in a couple games this year. At Kentucky, only 44 yards to the air, and at Akron, only 37 yards on the ground. And they're getting dominated by the other team's defenses as well. Bama's defense has looked shaky this year. However, this is a statement game for them. They have to bounce back after that loss. I'm taking Bama to cover the spread.
I agree. I'm taking Bama. I think after that embarrassing loss to Vanderbilt, they're going to be highly motivated and a little ticked off, if you don't mind me saying. And I think South Carolina, they're going to get the brunt of it.
What if I did mind you saying?
Huh? What if I did mind?
All right, we're going to move to Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry. I told you it was tough to say. And real quick, I'm just going to read some numbers off to you. 34-30. 55-48, 34-27, 39-27, 48-45, 29-24, 45-40, 24-17, 31-26, and 20-26. That's the score of the last 10 years. That means Oklahoma would have covered in every single one because these games are close. Doesn't matter if they are ranked or unranked. I'm taking Oklahoma.
Yeah, the big stat here that we have to look at, I have never seen anything like this on football on any level. Oklahoma is missing their 5 top wide receivers. Who are they going to throw the ball to? Texas, on the other hand, they might have 5 receivers better than Oklahoma's 5 receivers that are out in the first place. Let's go with Texas to cover the spread. I'd even take them up to 21.
I mean, like you said, the rosters, you stack them up. Texas is the clear favorite to take this one home. But there's 3 things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Texas making the Red River rivalry way too close of a game when they should win this. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma covering the spread. Like you mentioned, Zach, it's been too close for too many years in a row. I got to go with tradition here, baby.
I agree. In always these rivalry games, the Red River rivalry. Now you got me on this. I tried to show them up, and look at that. I got to show them up. But I think that Texas has proven that even with Arch Manning or Quinn Ewers, it doesn't matter who's behind center or under center there. I think they're still going to prove it. It's number 1 versus number 24. 14.5 spread. I'm taking Texas.
All right, we are going to move now. Ole Miss and LSU. Real quick, this is the only stat that matters. LSU 12-0 at home at night. Tiger Stadium under Brian Kelly. Also on a 13-game winning streak at home. LSU, Death Valley, not going in there and beating them.
I think Ole Miss is being disrespected as an underdog in this one. I get that they're on the road. Jackson Dart, this offense, I like them. Let's go Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ole Miss, too. I have faith in Jackson Dart, and I mean, Nussmeier has looked pretty good this year, but I don't know. You got to take a look at that week 1. They lost to USC, and USC turned out to not be a great team. Ole Miss is a much better team than USC is, so I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover here.
I agree. I'm taking Ole Miss. I 100% agree with Kevin here that I think Ole Miss is very underrated with an LSU team that is a little bit inconsistent for my taste, as they have after years past. They lose Jaden Daniels from last year. They're not what I think everyone thinks they are. Ole Miss, on the other hand, with Dart, I think they're a powerhouse, even though it will be a tough matchup.
Y'all do me a favor when you go home, turn on College Football 25, see how much your controller shakes for Death Valley at night. You aren't beating them at there. All right, last game here. We're going to get to the game of the day, Ohio State, Oregon, number 2 versus number 4, that in the CBS rankings. I am going to go ahead and take Ohio State for one and one reason only. Ohio State is number 1 in the country when it comes to finishing drives, both on offense and defense. Oregon, number 67 on offense when it comes to finishing drives, number 102 on defense when it comes to finishing drives. So real quick, who you got?
I got to go with Ohio State as well. Oregon has played some very close games versus some very inferior teams. Ohio State, on the other hand, has been rolling along. Let's go with the Buckeyes.
Ohio State's defenses look too good. They're going to shut down Dylan Gabriel. And if both them and Penn State win out, they play as 1 and 2 in a couple weeks. So
5 seconds, who you got?
I'm going Oregon. I think it's going to be a close matchup. They'll cover.
All right, we are down to the last 10 seconds here on the Southern Tier Kickoff. We appreciate you joining us once again, and we will see you next week. But don't go anywhere. Michael will have the highlights at 10 and 11. Stay tuned. We'll see you later.